Imagine hearing about a respected surgeon who once dedicated his life to saving patients, suddenly becoming the center of one of the strangest and most disturbing crime stories in recent years. That is the reality in the United Kingdom, where Neil Hopper, a 49-year-old vascular surgeon from Cornwall, has now been sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in prison. Hopper had spent years performing hundreds of amputations as part of his career, helping patients cope with life-changing conditions and building a reputation as a skilled professional. But in 2019, his own life took a shocking and bizarre turn when he had both of his legs amputated below the knee. At the time, the explanation sounded like a tragic medical event. Hopper claimed sepsis, a dangerous complication of infection, had forced doctors to remove his legs. Yet behind the story of tragedy lay something far darker, involving fraud, deception, and intentional self-harm. In court, prosecutors revealed the shocking truth. Hopper had deliberately inflicted the damage that led to his amputations. Using ice and dry ice, he froze his legs until the tissue was so severely damaged that doctors had no choice but to remove them. This deliberate act was presented publicly as a mysterious illness, one he said had spiraled into sepsis. But investigators discovered the deception. For years, Hopper lived under the guise of being a tragic victim, while secretly pursuing fraudulent insurance claims. His medical knowledge gave him the tools to craft a believable explanation, and his professional background made it difficult for people to doubt him. But ultimately, the story unraveled. The court heard detailed accounts of how his plan unfolded, including the lies told to insurers and the carefully staged narrative he tried to maintain. What once seemed like bad luck turned out to be a carefully orchestrated fraud. The insurance fraud was at the center of the case, and the scale of the dishonesty left prosecutors highlighting the seriousness of Hopper's actions. By claiming his injuries were the result of sepsis rather than self-inflicted harm, he attempted to secure financial payouts he had no right to receive. Insurance fraud doesn't just affect companies. It drives up costs for ordinary people and undermines trust in the system. Coming from a medical professional, it made the offense even more damaging. Prosecutor Nicholas Lee emphasized how Hopper's knowledge of health and anatomy allowed him to manipulate the situation with chilling precision. Adding to the severity, police found extreme pornographic material in his possession, an offense that intensified the criminal charges. The sentencing judge called out Hopper's breach of trust, noting that his respected position in the medical community made his actions all the more shocking. His fall from grace was complete. The case left many reeling, from colleagues who once admired him to patients who trusted his expertise. The revelation that a surgeon with years of experience could harm himself so severely and then lie for personal gain has been described as both baffling and tragic. Some observers have suggested mental health issues might have played a role, pointing out that self-destructive acts are often linked to deeper struggles. Yet the court was clear in its judgment. This was not a case of illness alone, but of deliberate fraud. Hopper knew exactly what he was doing when he froze his legs and built his story around sepsis. The medical community has expressed disappointment and sadness, noting that such behavior damages public trust. For many, the incident has reignited conversations about accountability in medicine, highlighting that professionals, no matter their status, can make devastating choices with lasting consequences. As Hopper begins his prison sentence, his story stands as a cautionary tale about accountability, integrity, and the dangers of dishonesty. A man once respected for saving lives and performing difficult surgeries is now remembered for orchestrating his own amputations and defrauding insurers. For the medical profession, it underscores the importance of ethical responsibility, and for the public, it reveals how fraud can emerge in the most unexpected ways. His sentence of 2 years and 8 months reflects the seriousness of his crimes, though many observers believe the damage to his reputation and career will last far longer than his time behind bars. What began as a story of a tragic illness has been revealed as a calculated act of self-harm and deceit, leaving behind a legacy of shock, disappointment, and disbelief. Neil Hopper's case is sure to remain one of the strangest medical scandals in recent memory.